Hello, friend. Welcome back to another podcast in the series talking all about using social media for your lead generation in the Passports, Profits, and Pixie Dust show. This is the show where we blend strategy with a little bit of sparkle to help you grow a thriving travel business that you love. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Have you ever sat down to post on social media and completely drawn a blank? Yes, I'm raising my hand right now, and I'm sure you probably are as well. Even if you're driving, you're like, "Yep, girl, I've done that." You just think like, "What do I even have to say today?" Or you get in your head about what to post, and if that's you, know this, you are not alone. But here's the good news. There is a simple formula that can help you create engaging, converting content week after week without the stress or guesswork. That's what we are going to talk about today. The truth is, many travel advisors, travelpreneurs, any business owner, honestly, is most likely overthinking your content. You don't need to reinvent the wheel with every post, but you do need a balanced content strategy, one that serves your audience and supports your business goals. So, today we're going to talk about the secret, and it comes down to rotating three core types of posts. Let's talk about it. Think of your content strategy like a balanced diet. I like to think, like the food pyramid, right? You wouldn't just live on carbs or only vegetables or only dairy or things like that, right? Same goes for your social media. You are going to want a mix that is going to nurture your audience and gently nudges them toward booking their next trip with you. This three post framework keeps you from falling into the trap of either only posting pretty pictures with no real purpose behind them or sounding like a broken sales pitch 24/7. Neither one of those is going to be beneficial for our business. Instead, if you do this, you're going to create content that builds relationships and drives business growth. So let's break it down. The first type of post, drum roll please. And this is my favorite type of post to create. I don't know if that's like the projector and human design of me coming out or the teacher and me coming out, but the first type of post is educational content. This is the stuff that positions you as the expert. Let me just start by saying, don't get in your head about, well, I'm not an expert yet. Maybe I'm a new travel advisor or new whatever. You know more than your client. And this is immediately going to give you value and build trust fast when you do this sort of content. So here are examples of types of educational content. The first kind is myth busting. So this could be a hook like, no, you don't need to book Disney dining 60 days out. Here's what really matters. And me as a Disney expert, I'm like, ooh, what do you mean? I'm going to click and read what she has to say about this. So what kind of myth can you bust about your travel niche? The second type is a comparison post. Perhaps you're going to say all inclusive versus the European plan in a Mexico resort. Which one saves you more money? Even me as a travel advisor, I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. I do this for my clients anyway when I'm like looking through stuff. I actually just did this different kind of dining plan, but for the Disney dining plan. I had a client who kept saying, well, I heard there's a deal on the Disney dining plans. I want the cheapest possible room with the Disney dining plan. And she really wanted me to book with this deal where the dining plan was free. But I showed her, okay, well, if you really truly want the cheapest experience, the free plan right now with the free Disney dining plan for the special that we were looking at had to be a moderate hotel. So she was going to have to book at, I think it was like Port Orleans at Disney, versus if we booked not with the free dining meal plan and she paid for the dining plan, but she also paid to stay at like an all-star resort, she was saving like $800. But she was so in her head about like, I want the free plan. I want the free plan. I want the free. Okay, girl, that's fine. But it's going to cost you more money than if you didn't get the free plan, right? So doing some comparison like this is going to make you the expert to your audience. And the next kind of post is a step-by-step guide. This doesn't have to be like a complete, 10-page ebook sort of guide, but a step-by-step post. So for example, how to get your passport in 4 weeks and exactly what forms you need. The cool thing with a lot of these educational posts too is if you do want to repurpose them into blogs, podcasts, heck, a YouTube video, it's going to be really easy for you to do that and, get yourself in front of more audiences. The next kind of post we call a listicle. I really like these as well. So an example would be five Rome restaurants that are not in your guidebooks and what to order at each one. I love posts like this. These are really great. I like to put these like in a carousel sort of post. So if you like carousels, carousels are performing still really, really high. Some experts are saying they're even performing higher than a reel. So, especially for my friends listening who maybe don't love video or feel like reels are a lot of work or a lot of hassle, the listicles, so to speak, are really great ideas for carousels. And then another type of post could be seasonal advice: when to book Caribbean spring break trips and why waiting costs you big. I love the part "and why waiting costs you big" because it encourages a little bit of urgency for them to reach out to you to get started booking their trip. Here's the pro tip to wrap up your educational posts. The best educational posts answer real questions your clients have. So keep a list from questions that you find. I like to keep a list in a spreadsheet of questions that you're asked, questions that you see people asking in other Facebook groups, your DM convos. This is the content that is gold, especially if you can use the language of your client in your posts. Use exactly the words that they're using. Maybe they're not using words like all inclusive versus European plan, for example. Maybe you need to break that down into, how can I get my food included in an all inclusive, or like, I guess not included in all inclusive, but included in a tropical resort hotel. Like, does it make sense for me to do that kind of deal? Okay, so that's post 1. Post 2 is inspirational or engaging, not engaging, I guess you could say engaging, but entertaining content. This is heart and soul content. It's aspirational. It makes people feel something when they see it. Examples can include some destination eye candy with an emotional caption. So something that is on your bucket list. People love when they see pictures of like Bali and the overwater bungalows, things like that. Other examples could be a personal travel moment that you have had, or that other people have had that they've shared with you, or like the "why I do this" sort of story. This could be a client transformation, like how a trip helped a couple reconnect. Or I have seen and I follow one company that specializes in taking families on trips who have recently adopted a child. Those stories, I love reading them because it really pulls at your heartstrings, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. That's so cute. This could be travel quotes with a personal twist on them. And these can also be funny reels or even travel mishaps. Relatable always wins. So let's upgrade a basic post. Instead of just posting beautiful sunset in Santorini, you could try that moment when you're watching the Santorini sunset from your private terrace, cocktail in hand, and you realize all the planning stress was worth it. This is why I love creating these moments for busy couples who need a break from real life. See the difference? It's storytelling and connection, and that is content that sticks. Okay, post number 3, connection and conversion content. This is where the magic happens, connecting with people and converting them to clients. You're nurturing the relationship and inviting action without sounding salesy. So, for example, you can post a client win. This family came back closer than ever. Here's how we made that happen. You could share behind the scenes. Here's what I look for when researching hotels. Now, you have to be careful not to like give away all of the juice here, right? Because you don't want people booking things on their own. You want them coming to you to book them. This could also be, and I don't love sharing these a ton, but sharing like a limited time offer or early bird spots available on something, but creating a little bit of urgency and like, okay, now is the time to book. Personal stories, why you love planning for a certain kind of traveler. Why do you love planning for the family that is going on their first, Disney trip? Why do you love planning for the solo female traveler? Why do you love planning for the LGBTQ community? And then another reminder or type of post is a direct call to action. So these can be book a consult with you to get on your wait list. So like I had a wait list for the 2026 Disney reservations opening up. And these can also be DMs. If people are commenting on your post or they're saying like, I really want to plan my next trip to Greece, go ahead and reach out to them. If people are raising their hand, we want to be making sure that we are making those connections and reaching out to them and not letting a potential client, slip in the cracks. So a pro tip here is focus on transformation. Don't just say book with me, but show people why it is worth it to book with you. Why should they book with you? What makes you stand apart? People want people who connect with them, who care about them, who know about them and their family and know about what they want, and they actually listen to that and provide that sort of experience with them. So now let's talk implementation and put this framework into action. Here is a simple way you can work this into your content routine. Monday, motivational Monday. So make this, your inspirational post for the week. Everyone is waking up on Mondays with like the case of the Sunday scaries, right? Where we're back to the grind, we're back to going to work. So what can you inspire them and get them excited about looking forward to? Wednesday, post your educational content on Wednesdays. People are quote unquote more awake now. We know we are a little bit through the week. Let's go ahead and give some tips. Sometimes I do like a tip Tuesday as well, but let's give some educational content to position ourselves as experts. And Friday is for connection and conversion. I love also personally for my business to do follow-ups on Friday. So I'm doing a lot of things in the DMs and connecting with people. So a tip for you is to batch by category. So here's your quote unquote homework for the week. Create 3 educational posts in one sitting and then move on to the next type. So inspirational posts. It's way faster and it keeps your brain focused. So a caption template tip for education. You can say the problem, your solution, your expertise, and an action step. Inspirational, some sort of emotion, share the story, share a reflection, ask a question at the end. Conversion, share a client need, how you helped, the results, and then the invitation for them to work with you. And then like a pro tip or a next step bonus activity here is to track your performance. See which categories your audience really loves and lean into those. Maybe do them more, do them better, do them bigger, and see where this goes. But give yourself a good solid 90 days of this strategy to really see what is working and what isn't. We can't just post these each one time for a week and then be like, oh, well, that didn't work. Moving on, right? Stick with something. So, content calendar sneak peek of what an example full month could look like. Here's a sample rotation using the 3 post framework. So, week 1, inspiration. You could share a beach sunrise video as the content with your caption in the equation that I shared. So if you're not taking notes yet, this would be a great time to stop, grab a pen and paper, and take some notes. The educational post, you could share booking mistakes at all inclusives, and then the connection could be a client story about a family reconnection. Week 2, inspirational quote on travel memories. People love quote posts, and quote posts are easily shareable, which is really good. Educational post, best times to visit your top destination that you like to sell. And then a connection could be behind the scenes of your hotel research. So maybe it's a little reel or a picture of you at your computer, and you're sharing like what this actually looks like when you're finding the perfect hotel for your clients. Week 3, packing tips for your niche traveler, your favorite moment from a recent trip, and connection could be announcing limited holiday planning spots for the holidays coming up. Week 4, money saving tips that don't sacrifice experience. I really love that topic. Inspirational could be a before and after of a stressed client turned Zen traveler. And your connection could be a Q&A about how your booking process works. A lot of people ask me that all the time. Do you charge fees? How does this work? Do we get on the phone? All of this. So make it really clear. Maybe this is going to even be a post that you like pin to the top of your profile so that it's really clear how people can work with you. This approach makes posting simple, effective, and repeatable, which is huge. And also, remember, you can repurpose this content into other platforms and, reuse it again in 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road. No more starting from scratch or scrambling for content. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you want more help, remember, inside the Travel Agent Marketing Studio, we give you done-for-you captions and prompts and post ideas every single month for your specific business. It's like having a content assistant who gets the travel business and never takes a vacation. So make sure you check the show notes for the link if you want in. Also, if you can remember this, it's just lindsaydellinger.com/membership. You can get all the deets. There are a couple different versions of this. There's also a version where you can have the access to create your own lead magnets and basically have your own website set up. It's freaking awesome. So make sure you watch the video tutorial to learn more about that. And if you haven't yet taken my free lead generation quiz, it'll help you discover your lead generation style and your strength and how to attract more of your dream clients. So go take it, lindsaydellinger.com/quiz. It's quick, fun, and super insightful, if I must say so myself. So that's all for today's episode of Passports, Profits, and Pixie Dust. If you found this helpful, be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. Share it with a fellow travel advisor who could also use a little more content clarity. And until next time, keep creating and owning your magic. Bye, friend.